virus fatigue. So pandemic fatigue, that, you know, we're at this place where now the days are getting shorter, the nights are getting longer, we're more inside with the weather starting to shift, the amount of socialization has to slow down a bit because of not being able to be outside. And it's a hunkering down time for a lot of people, and it's daunting to think about what's ahead of us, through a winter, going through a isolated winter. And I think there can be a lot of fatigue around it. And it reminds me of many things, but patience is really what I've been thinking a lot about. And how do you cultivate patience? You know, when you want something to be different than it is, whether it's something that you're clinging to that you don't want to change, or something that you don't, that's happening that you want to change badly, we can lose patience. We have opportunities daily to practice the art of patience. And to me, patience is really very similar to mindfulness. You know, when we allow ourselves to drop down into the moment at hand, and stay there, regardless of whether we like to be there or not, you know, whether the moment that we're in is pleasant or foul. And this is part of the niyamas and the yamas of yoga, and the idea of being content. So santosha is the word in the sutra that really represents contentment, or is contentment. And how do we cultivate this when we're not really content, you know, when we don't want things to stay the way they are? So in your practice, see what you can do to learn the art of breathing well. Of course, we're always doing this, but to give your breath a job to help you tether yourself to the slow pace of movement and the slow pace of change. So then beyond the mat, you know, ways to practice patience. When you are driving is a perfect place to practice patience. Or maybe you're in a conversation with somebody and you want to say something, but you really want to create some space and gap, and good listening. You know, these are all arts of patience that we can cultivate to help us with the big patient that we're working with right now, which is that we're all stuck in this pandemic and there's nothing we can do about it other than what we can do to keep ourselves and others safe. So in your practice today, try to think about what it feels like to be patient in your body, what it feels like to be impatient in your body. A lot of times patience or lack thereof is a physical sensation. The uncomfortableness of impatience, you know, that tethering yourself to something that's different than now, can be very uncomfortable. And if we can learn to drop it and let the wave fall through us, we can get a lot more comfortable. So practice this in your practice. Practice it when we're staying in postures. Practice it to wait for the next breath, to not rush the breath, to not rush the mind out into other parts of the body. You know, bring yourself slowly into interoception so that you can linger and stay in different sensations instead of just on to the next thing and on to the next thing. Okay, so let's close our eyes and take a moment to let yourself drop into this moment, and take time to make sure that your body is comfortable, so you can put yourself up on some support, stand up, lie down, whatever is good for you. Okay, so then just close your eyes and take a moment to settle into yourself, finding that state of grace that patience really is. What are you wanting to change inside your own body? You know, are you impatient with something that you're working with? Or are you very patient? Do you have the patience of a saint, you know, that expression? Observe the letting go. Allow yourself to ground. Come to the weight of your pelvis. Feel the curves of your spine. Come into the natural form of your body instead of something you're pushing and prodding and poking to try to fit a form. How big can you get your skull bones to feel so that your brain has lots of room? Can you drop the shoulders? Sometimes impatience shows up just with that slight lift of the traps, wanting to go somewhere. See if you can surrender all the muscles around your neck, the base of your skull, your shoulders, and feel the big open space inside your chest. And even as you fill breath in, and you might feel like you're full up, realize that breath is spacious. The air and the oxygen, it's also spacious, not very dense at all. So enjoy as you inhale and you exhale all the room that you have. As you start to hone in on the way your breathing feels, notice your diaphragm. Is that a piece of impatience? Do you grip? Where do you grip when you are impatient? And can you notice the next time? Maybe you don't feel impatient right now. Maybe you do. But the next time, if not now, that you feel impatient, pause and notice where in your body you feel it. And same, when you feel super patient, like I could linger here all day, what does that feel like in your body? Come back to your breath again and see if you can cultivate this slow, steady stream of breath. Where the inhale has plenty of time, there's a gentle pause. And the exhale has plenty of time, and there's a gentle pause. Let's place the palms together at your heart and pause here for a moment. Feel your hands against each other. And notice something either in this moment or something you anticipate today where you will need patience. Can you let your intention, if it resonates, it can be about anything. But I bet if you slow down, whatever you're intending, we'll have a little more room. All right, let's go ahead and release the hands and come onto your back. All right, so as you lie down, take your time. Notice how your body feels. Let's stretch through the spine. Okay, so reach the left side, reach the right side. Notice what the breath wants to do. It always makes me want to yawn or hold my breath. Maybe that's the same for you, I don't know. But just follow the natural impulses of your body. Does it feel good to just stretch in this way? All right, and then bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit from left and right. Feeling yourself sway from side to side. And then let's do a few circles with our knees. So one direction, hold your knees together, and let's just turn them into a little circle. Feel this in your sacrum, a little massage across the backside of the pelvis, and then go the other direction. Just going from side to side. All right, and then the knees come in and out. And sensing, feeling what it feels like to open the hip joints a little bit. The hips are often a place where we need to have patience for opening. It doesn't always happen super fast. All right, and then let's put our feet down onto the ground and windshield wiper our knees left and right. And feel free to add the upper body into this if you want to turn your head the other way. Stretch open through your chest and just enjoy some gentle movement in the body. And then let's open our body up. Spread to your wings. Stretch your limbs outward. And then exhale and bring your limbs inward. Tucking into a ball, let all your air out. Wait for the breath. Take an inhale into expansion of the limbs. Exhale. One more time. Spread your body out. On your inhale, limbs get wide. Exhale, knees into your chest. All right, put the head down. Keep your right knee into your chest. Stretch your left leg long on the floor. And start to move your ankles. Wake up your shins, your feet, your calves. Notice where you want to compress the knee and hip. Do you want to have your knee close to your ribs or out to the side? Just find a little pocket that feels good on your hip joint. Move around your feet. So be patient with this. Feel your feet open. See what it feels like to sense the bottom of your feet broadening. And then let's change sides. Left knee into the chest, right leg stays long. Feel some wiggling of toes. See what it feels like to move around. So you can have the intention of being patient, and you can tell yourself in your head, I'm going to be patient with this. But really, patience is a practice. It's not something that you can just check on the checklist. It has to be experienced. It has to be touched up against and grown like any muscle in the body. You need to practice it to help it grow. All right, let's go ahead and roll over onto our side and come up onto your hands and your knees. Okay, so as you find your way, take some time moving through some cat-cows, arching and rounding the spine, noticing the spine, noticing the collarbones, the shoulder blades, the base of the skull, the tip of the tail. What are you feeling as you just move back and forth through flexion and extension? Can you open up the spaces in the back side of the vertebrae? Can you open up the spaces in the front side of the vertebrae? And feel free to move around a little bit so you can sway through your hips, wiggle through your head, anything that feels really good. And loosen up your back a little bit. All right, and then stretch back towards child's pose. And let's rest here for a moment. So put your knees in a comfortable place. Find your breath. Rest down. Feel a sense of opening through the back of the body. And then let's walk our hands over to the left side of the mat and stay grounded. Root into the pelvis. Relax the base of the skull. Feel that side body open. And then melt it a little bit. So, our striving can often, interrupt our capacity to just be present with the sensation that we feel. So there's nowhere to go. There's only sensation to feel. Let's move to the other side. And same. Find the stretch and then melt into the stretch. Keep the base of the skull relaxed and soft. Deep breath in and away. All right, and then come back to center. Come back up onto all fours. Inhale, lift your right arm up in the air. Slide that arm through, finding the twist. Open the breath. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Feel the hips. Notice where they want to slide. And then inhale and reach that arm all the way back up again. Place the hand down onto the ground. Second side, left arm lifting. Slide that shoulder down, gaze toward the floor. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Feel a sense of space across the back of the shoulders. All right, great. And then inhale and reach that arm all the way back up. Place the hand down onto the ground. Find dog pose. So you can always come onto forearms if your wrists are problematic.
All right, and let's start to pedal our feet here. And you can also, if your shoulders are problematic, you can come higher and come into half dog with your arms on a piece of furniture. If your shoulders are problematic, you can take one arm down and just keep one arm on a piece of furniture. So lots of ways to modify your dog pose so that you can still feel that full extension through the body. Feel the calves open, lift and widen the sit bones. Stretch open the bottom of your feet. Once you get the broadness in your feet to happen, melt. What can you feel underneath your feet and your hands or whatever you're touching the floor with? Notice the reach, so stretch your shoulders, feel the length. Lift your heart up toward the pelvis. And then go ahead and come back down onto all fours. And relax your hips toward the heels. Rest down in child's pose. Have a moment of patience here. Nowhere to go, just to be here. Breathe here. Allow yourself to feel what's here instead of, the transitions where we don't pay attention very much because we're just going somewhere. See if you can just be here. All right, and then let's go ahead and find our way up. Come on to your feet. Okay, and we're going to stretch out our wrists just a little bit. Been hearing from a lot of people lately how much computer time everybody's got. So just take your fists and roll them. We'll open up our hands in just a moment. But just with fists closed, roll in both directions. Let your forearms warm a bit. And now start to open the fingers. And you can just either open and close. You can do this actually quite fast if you want to, or you can just swirl your hands around. So just find whatever, your arms don't have to be out of the sides. Okay. All right, and then lift your arms all the way up and just have a couple of big circles. Now, if this doesn't feel good in your shoulders, stay within the range of motion that does feel good. Just opening up the chest a bit. Okay, great. Then press your palms toward the walls next to you and start to move your head one ear up, then the other ear up. Slide the shoulder blades down the back, breathing. All right, and then we're going to interlace the hands behind the back. Grab onto the right wrist with the left hand and just feel a little gentle tug and then open things up. So as you grab onto the right wrist, lift the right ear, feel that stretch through the scalene muscles, those muscles along your side, the side of your neck. And then feel free to move your head around a little bit. So maybe lift your chin just a touch, maybe drop your chin just a touch, and just see where you can feel this in your neck. So we're moving slowly, just exploring little places in the body. So what does it feel like to just sense what's happening in your chest, your neck? Can you feel your yielding feet, soft knees, stable body? How's your breath? And then come back to neutral and drop your chin toward your chest. Feel the back of your neck stretch. And then come back up and we'll go to the other side. Tug on your left wrist with your right hand, just enough so there's a little traction. And then lift the left ear up toward the sky. Breathe right into the neck and just notice some little sensations of movement if you want. So you can drop your chin, you can lift your chin. Just see little movements. This does not have to be a big movement to have a lot of sensation. All right, and then come back to center. Shrug your shoulders up a few times. Okay, just loosen some of that. All right, now we're going to do a big shrug. Shrug hard, hug it up, squeeze, squeeze, and then let that go. Now lift your chin, touch your teeth. Imagine a roll towel behind your head. Lift your chin toward the sky. Look a little bit to the left, just a bit. And a little bit to the right, just a bit, like less than an inch. All right, and then relax back to your chin toward your chest. Grab onto the base of your skull and just slowly bend your knees and roll forward. And see if you can get the stretch to land along your whole back spine. So as you come into your first Uttanasana, let your knees be really bent. Grab on back there, feel the back body open. How's your breath? All right, and then go ahead and come to a halfway lift. So hold something, your shins, your knees, your thighs, lengthen the spine. Exhale and melt back down. Grab your 2 blocks. Let's step our left foot back. Our right foot's coming forward. Come into a lunge. Have your hands on the blocks. Move your shoulders away from the ears. The spine is getting longer. We're going to bend and straighten the front knee. Squaring the hips as you go, both ways. When you're bending your front knee, and when you're straightening your front knee, the hips are staying square. So just feel that opening. Can you tuck your chin toward your chest and get that fine back body line opening? This is just such a good stretch for the back of the body. One more time. And then walk your back foot forward. Fold in half again. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. 2 blocks. You can put them on the high height. I promise we'll get to the other side. Feet are hip width apart. Let's walk the blocks over to the right side of the mat. Reach the left hip back, inner spiral the thighs, and lift the heart forward. Just come into the sensation. What are you feeling? I feel this in my hips. Some people feel it in their back. I can even feel it in my calves. And then come back to center and walk your blocks over to the other side. Reach that opposite hip back. Feet stay grounded, yield into the floor, lift up through the femur bones. All right, and then come back to center. Bend your knees a lot. Round in, grab the base of your skull again. And then push off your feet. Rise all the way up, reaching the arms to the sky. A little bit of a back bend, so cactus open the chest. And then exhale and fold again. This time we'll take the right foot back. Our left foot is staying forward. Come into a lunge on this side. So find the expansiveness through your heart. Feel the reach of the spine. Feel the groundedness of the feet. Find the midline with your inner thighs. And let's start to move here. So straighten the front knee a bit. Doesn't have to go all the way. Tuck your chin toward your chest. And then come back into the lunge and feel your heart expand forward. So just moving slowly. Try to slow down your practice. As we work with patients today, see if you can stay a little slower in your pace than maybe you sometimes want to rip through. Find that lunge again. Reach your heart. And then let's walk the back foot forward. Bend your knees. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and fold back down. Feel the feet yield. Push off your feet. Rise up. I know it's a lot of up, down. We'll almost be done with it. Open the chest one more time. Feel the stretch across your heart. And then exhale and round your spine. Bring your forearms to touch. Sink your weight into your right foot and bring your left knee up. Arms out to the side. Let's just find a moment of balance. Sometimes balance poses are so good to help us stay here now. It teaches us the art of mindfulness, presence. And remember, your arms can be anywhere you want them to be. They don't have to be out to the sides. Can you find your slow paced breath? Okay, now let's put that foot down onto the ground. Find a moment of 2 feet, Tadasana. Feel the yielding into the earth, the relationship, the devotion to the earth through your feet. Feel the energy through your legs. There's a lot of possibility in your leg strength to do so many different things. Feel the buoyancy of your spine, the natural curve. So we're not trying to pull our head up and straighten our spine. We're trying to keep the curves as we find openness. Root into your left foot. Bring the right knee up into the air. Put your arms either out or up or palms together or down or anywhere you want them to be so that you feel stable. Try not to let the knee or foot cross. Stay in line with the hip. Reach the spine. Feel that sense of openness across the spine without losing your curve. Stabilize through your core. Feel the soft knee you're standing on, root into the foot. And then go ahead and place that foot down onto the ground. Arms up. Take a deep breath, fold in half. Lengthen the spine downward now. Let it waterfall toward the floor. Halfway lift, spine grows. Exhale and release and come back down. Let's step the left foot back. The right foot's coming forward. Come into crescent lunge. So arms come up toward the sky. Finding your breath here. You can always ignore my suggestion of arms up and you can keep your hands down. So there's always ways to modify everything. You guys can do everything that serves your body best. Find your breath. Let's twist open to the right. Feel some core engagement. Wake up the obliques. Slide the shoulders down the ears again, down away from the ears again. Notice all those neck muscles we loosened up. Can they be patient and just be here? And then inhale, reach the arms back up toward the sky. Place the hands down onto the ground and come onto one leg, half split. So hands can be on blocks or the floor. Stretch your spine here, reach into your heel, square the hips. Feel the inner thigh of that back leg lift toward the sky. The sit bones can stay wide, so we're not, scrunching into our pelvis. Get broad. See what it feels like to root your foot and rise up through the hip. Extending that leg, lifting, engage the muscles in your leg. And then exhale and place that foot down onto the ground. Feel both your feet, feel even weight. Squat down. You might want to block between your thighs. We're going to come into chair pose. So if your knees get a little unstable in chair pose, having a block can be very helpful, as can putting your butt against a piece of furniture, either a wall or a chair or a table. Okay, so finding your breath, inhaling, exhaling. Arms can go anywhere you want them to be. Root your feet, drop into the heels, feel your chest broaden. Slide those shoulders down again. Melt the neck and shoulders. There's nowhere to go. Steady the slow breath. And then go ahead and stand on it. Release your hands down. Take the block out if you had a block. And let's come back to a lunge on this side and come up to crescent lunge here. So you can hold furniture, you can put your back knee down onto the ground, you can put your arms anywhere they need to be. Relax the shoulders. So, when your arms go up over your head, of course your shoulder blades are going to change the position. So you don't have to, hunker your shoulder blades down. You don't have to pull real hard on your shoulder blades. Relax the space between your shoulder blades. Feel that little waterfall cascade. So you can slide the shoulder blades up without gripping tensely. Find your breath. Twist to the side. Drop the shoulders. Feel that hugging into the midline with your legs. Feel the core of the body awaken. And reach the arms back up or out or wherever you want them to be. And let's bring our hands down and grab the block. And we're going to come up into half splits on this side. So engage that leg in the air. There's a lot of glutes that need to be active here for this pose. Soften the standing knee, root into the earth, and lift up, extending the spine. Press into the foot in the air. Feel that length from crown to foot. How's your nice, steady, slow breaths? Is there room in your neck? All right, let's go ahead and put that foot down next to the other foot. Bend in a little bit, soften. One more time, we're going to come into chair pose. So if you like using a block, grab that block again. Squat into your chair. Heels come down, weighted. Arms go anywhere you want them to be. Relax the shoulders. Soften the muscles around your neck. Feel the breath come in. Feel the breath go out. Be here now. What would happen if you just didn't have a thought of ending, that this pose is just where we are? There's nowhere to go. We're not coming out. We're not going in. We're just here. Feel the sensations of your legs. If you're using a block, what does it feel like to hug it a bit? How's the curves in your back feeling? Are you rounded? Are you overarched? Can you find neutral? What does it feel like to ground your feet, to root as if you're about to jump? So that down before the up. Give yourself over to the earth. Give yourself into that down before the up. All right, now stand up straight and tall. You can take the block out if you're using a block. Find your breath. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Reach the arms overhead. Lengthen through the sides. Open your chest. Exhale and fold down again. Come onto all fours. So come down onto your hands and your knees. You can always take your blocks underneath your forearms if your wrists are unhappy with being on the floor. Okay, so you get to decide what you want to do. Just find a cat-cow here. Be here now. All right, then we're going to take the right leg straight back and the left arm out in front of us. Find the stability of bird dog. Engage through the full back body. Where along the chain, from your finger in the air all the way back to your heel, where are you not feeling it? See if you can find sensation through that whole link from a hand to heel. And at the same time, see if you can find the link in the front of your body. What does it feel like to hug the hand on the floor and the knee on the floor just a little bit toward each other? How's your neck? Are you all crunched up in the base of your skull? And then relax your hand and your knee down onto the ground, and let's change sides. So now our left leg is up in the air. Stabilize through the core of your body. Right arm comes out, and you don't have to have it out in front of you. The arm can be in a different position. It even can be back behind you if your shoulder isn't so good with, arm overhead. Relax the muscles in the neck. Feel that connection from your hand to your heel. Find that kinesthetic chain. What's holding you? And then also feel that deep sense in the center body. So it's not just the back of the body, but it's the front of the body too. Feel free to hug your hand and knee toward each other on the floor. Stabilizing through your core. There's somewhere you can melt, I bet. How about the base of the skull? All right, and then relax. Come back towards child's pose. Settle the hips toward the heels and relax as best as you can. Travel the body. Moving through the spine with the breath. Okay, let's come forward and come onto our belly now. Roll the shoulders a few times. So shoulders up toward the ears, up toward the sky and back. And feel how much range of motion your shoulder blades have on the back. If you tend to glue your traps, if they get gluey and stuck and tense, what can you do to let your shoulder blades teach your traps that all is well and you don't have to hold so tightly? So change the direction of your swirling of your shoulder blades. So now we're going to go up toward the sky, up toward the ears and down. Okay. And now rest your head on the floor. Before we come into a back bend, just rock on your forehead, left and right. And then be still. Take a deep breath into the base of the skull, the back of the neck, tops of the traps. Travel all the way down to your shoulders and relax. Slide the shoulder blades down the back. Engage the back muscles a little bit. Take a deep breath in and lift up to a cobra pose. Exhale and come back down. One more time. Lengthen up. Exhale and come back down. Pick up the feet and windshield wiper your knees left and right. Feel free to turn your head. All right, and then come back to dog pose. Spread out the hands and feet. Feel free to make a different choice if this pose isn't so good for your body. Feel the reach. Feel the reach of the spine, the reach of the shoulders, the reach of the femur bones back. Bend your knees. Great, and then walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana again. And just feel, how are you? How's your balance? How's your sense of weightedness in your feet? And then we're going to rise all the way up. Find your breath. Turn your palms out. Feel the shoulder blades slide down a little bit here, opening across the chest. So as you drop your shoulder blades down, notice if you're creating more tension in the upper chest. So soften a little bit so you're not pinning the shoulder blades to the earth. You know, you want to be mobile. Sometimes when we pin our shoulder blades like we are anchoring them to our feet, we lose the capacity to be free in our spine. So have the sense of openness where but have a sense of relaxation there. So what does it feel like to change that? To have a sense where your shoulder blades are not creeping up toward your ears, they're down, but they're relaxed and down instead of pinning down. Close your eyes and take a deep breath into your Tadasana. Root into the feet. Feel the rebound through your spine. And then we're going to sink our way into our right foot again. This time, we're going to come up to tree pose. Now, I know we haven't done any externally rotated standing poses yet, so this is a big hip movement. So just see what you can find. And remember, you can be low. You can be with your foot. You can even be touching the floor with your foot. Feel the standing leg. Root into it. Feel the lift of your spine. Be here now. Whatever you're doing with your left leg, whether it's high or low, it does not matter. Be here now. Relax the shoulder blades down. Feel a sense of softness through the base of the skull. Relax your knee that you're standing on. Let your gaze be soft. See if you can be in the presence of balance softly instead of rigidly. Now let's go ahead and change sides. So no matter what you, see if you can match. So if you had your leg up high, see if you're available for that on this side. And if not, it's okay if you can't do the same thing. Just have a sense of mirroring. Okay, open up your knee. Try not to stick your hip out to the side. See what you can do to keep that hip in. The knee is soft. We're melting. We're yielding into the floor and then rebounding. So there's both a capacity for strength and stability and surrender and ease. So the shoulder blades do not have to work real hard for anything right now. So put your arms in a place where your shoulder blades can melt down instead of pinning down. Breathe deeply. Keep the jaw and the eyes and the skull relaxed. Notice the core supporting you. Notice where your muscles are working. Notice the breath. And then unwind that leg and feel some bouncing. Okay, just let some of that go. Deep breath in, deep breath away. Inhale, reach the arms, big circle, fold in half. Halfway lift here, stretch out the spine. Let's step our left foot back. All right, so we're coming into, turning right away to come into Parsva Konasana. So bend your knee now, place your elbow on your knee, and see if you can still feel that feeling that the shoulder blades can move down the body without pinning. Is there a sense of mobility and freedom in your neck and shoulders? Put your upper arm wherever you want it to be. Feel the movement, feel the breath. Ground yourself here and now. Root into the feet. Feel the surrender into the earth and give back from the earth. See what it feels like to strengthen your legs. They're so solid, right? You have so much muscle mass in your lower extremities. So use it. Feel supported. All right, and then go ahead and come back up. We're just going to do the same pose, second side. So turning your feet the other way, coming into a lunge on side lunge on this side. Place your elbow down onto your knee. Try not to scrunch your shoulders up. Move them down without pinning them to the pelvis. See if your breath is free. Feel the rooting of your feet into the earth and rebound out of there. Push off the earth. Feel the extension through your spine. Feel the sense of working in the lower body. So come into the strength of your legs. Feel your glutes, feel your hamstrings, your quads, your hips. Relax your upper body. Find your breath. Put your upper arm wherever you want it to be. What do you love about this pose? Can you be patient staying here? All right, let's go ahead and find our way out of there. Turn your feet to the long edge of your mat. Turn your feet slightly out so they're not straight. They're just turned out a little bit. We're going to come into Goddess pose. The first round of this, lean forward, just so you can get into the deep movement of the hips. So you can just take it like a deep, deep squat. Notice how your ankles, knees, and hips feel. Make sure you're able to sustain that. And then we're going to come on up, straighten out the legs. When you come into the next pose, choose where you want your arms to be. The palms can be together. You can have your arms out. So anything that feels good. Find your way into Goddess pose. Okay, so you don't have to be super low. You can be high and you can be low. If your knees bother you, only go as far as you can handle body weight coming through your joints. Feel the roots of your feet. Drop in, lift the spine, relax the neck and shoulders. Feel the neutral spine. So we're not ramrodding up, we're just being soft. Stable through your core and your legs and your hips. Feel the roots of your feet. Take some deep, slow breaths. Does it feel good to work your legs to feel strength, stability? All right, and then stand up straight. Heel toe your feet in and turn toward the front of your mat. Once again, you can bounce, you can sway, you can do whatever you want. Find the breath. Reaching the arms up to the sky. Lengthen, open, exhale, and fold forward. Let's step back to a plank. Remember, if you don't like wrists on the ground, you can take a forearm plank instead. You can always put your knees on the floor as well. Find that integration. Center body. Breathe here. And let's put our knees down onto the ground and come back to the floor. Find your way onto a restful place. So no back bend just yet. Turn your head one way or the other. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. All right, we're gonna come onto all fours and come over onto your back. Make sure you have a block. All right, we're gonna do bridge pose twice. We're gonna do it once actively and once more passively. So once again, your legs like to do work, so give them a job. Feel your feet, spread open the bones of your feet. Feel where you're touching the earth. Ground in, yield in. Put the block between your thighs if you want. You don't have to do this, but if you want, you can stick the block between your thighs. Inhale and lift up into bridge pose. The arms can be down at your sides. The back of the neck is not pushing into the floor. So have just the teeniest bit of pressure on the back of the head. Lift the chin just slightly away from the chest and let the chest follow the chin. So keep the curve in your cervical spine. Try not to compress the throat. Feel the spine lift. The heart lifts towards the chin. That's where the compression, or not the compression, but the Jalandhara Bandha, that sense of a little bit of binding around the throat. Let it come from the chest lifting instead of the chin dropping. Feel the roots of the feet, re-engage. Deep belly breaths. let's go ahead and bring our body down. Okay, we're just going to windshield wiper the knees, left and right. Turn the head in opposition. Let your neck be soft. All right, we're going to come into bridge pose with support. So you can take the block on the low height, the middle height. If you need to go to the high height, instead of being on one block, just stack 2 blocks underneath you across your sacrum instead of one block skinny right under your tailbone. Okay, so however, whatever height, low, medium, or high, is right for your body. Let's go ahead and stick the block across the pelvis. So from hip to hip is where the length goes of the block, instead of in line with the spine, perpendicular to the spine, under the sacrum, under the pelvis. All right, so find the place that you want to be. The height, the placement, just move around, figure it out, what feels best underneath you. And then once you're there, melt. Notice if your shoulders were like waiting for, standing at attention. The shoulder often are anticipatory. So much of our body can be anticipatory. And this is, a bit of patience or lack thereof. When we have anticipatory engagement in muscles, they're ready for action, right? They're already ready for the next thing. So teach wherever those places are in you, whether it's, the neck and shoulders or somewhere else. If there's a part of your body that stands to attention before movement, sometimes that can be helpful. Being ready can be helpful for anticipating movement patterns, but not when it just is when you're sitting at the computer and, for 2 hours working away and there's no movement about to happen. That's when we want to have this unconscious pattern drop into a state of ease. So what in your body can relax right here? Deep belly breaths in and out. Melt through the skull, the base of the skull. Melt into the deep belly. Try to be patient for the breath. Let's get that block out of there. Come down onto the ground. Resist the urge to bring the knees to the chest right away. Instead, just swipe them left and right for a few rounds. Just come into the breath. How are your exhales? Are they slow and steady? How are your neck and shoulders feeling as you're resting here? Let's bring our knees into the chest and rock around a little bit, kind of swaying from side to side. And then let's go ahead and find reverse pigeon pose. So put your left foot on the ground, right foot comes onto the left knee, and go ahead and come. If you prefer a different pose, if you're a big fan of pigeon pose, or just crossing thigh over thigh and bringing the knees to the chest, so one thigh over the other and knees come in. If you are a fan of one of those poses instead, by all means. So take a posture that's going to help you find deep stretch in the hip while still being able to maintain softness in the neck and shoulders. Go ahead and release. and change sides. So if you're in reverse pigeon pose, left foot comes on top of right knee. Reach back and grab on, either interlacing your fingers over the shin or behind the thigh, whatever is giving your neck more ease. So a lot of times when we reach too far, we can reach just fine, but then our neck gets a little jacked up. So sometimes grabbing onto the thigh instead of the shin is a little softer for the shoulders. Relax into the floor. Widen the sit bones. Feel a sense of ease in the breath. Where are you holding that you don't have to? How about your feet? All right, let's go ahead and relax that. Bring your knees to the chest. Grab onto your feet. Happy baby pose. Feel free to rock back and forth between your two sides. And then put your feet onto the ground. Lift your hips, scooch them to the right. Knees come up and drop them to the left. A simple twist. Relax your neck as you turn your head. Full exhales. All right, and then inhale and lift your knees back up. Scoot your hips the other way. Bring your knees up and drop them over to the right. Open the chest. Turn your head. Deep breaths. All right, great. Then bring yourself up and let's find a simple leg up the wall pose. Now I want you to think about, you can do this without the wall if you want, or you can do it with the wall. So if you want to stick that block back underneath you and just lift your legs up here in the middle of the room, you can do that. And if you want to bring yourself to a wall, you can do that. Okay, so if you're working on patience, the restorative practices of yoga are so helpful. I'm hoping we move slow enough today where you feel like your nervous system is dropped down a notch. But if you still feel a little revved, any restorative pose, and you can choose a different one if you don't want to do this one. If you'd rather do Supta Baddha Konasana or something, you can do that. So whatever's going to make you happy. And once you get there, we'll just be there for a minute or two, and not a super long time. But just see what it feels like to melt into your posture. And if you are in the middle of the room, you can bend your knees. You don't have to have your legs straight up. You can also bring your knees toward your chest and just get a little traction in the spine. There's so many variations for you to do for a posture like this. Deep breaths in, melting breaths out. Feel where you're grounded. How is your breath? How are your neck and shoulders? And if you know you tend to harbor tension in your neck and shoulders, if you think throughout the day, anytime you think of a breath, anytime you're aware of a breath, try to bring that awareness into your neck and shoulders and melt at the same time. All right, so let's come out of that pose. If there's anything you need to do in between, like a little rocking or knees to chest, you can do that and find your way into Shavasana. So when you're here, take any posture that's serving you best. So you can be broad on the floor. You can be, narrow on the floor with your limbs close in. You can have support underneath your knees. So just take your time to find a comfortable posture. And then as you're ready, melt. Okay, so teach your body one more time. Melt your spine. Melt your limbs. Melt your shoulders. Feel the ease come in as you are patiently observing your breath. Check in with the base of the skull and the jaw, and take your time to ease that out. Let it go. Let's slowly begin to bring our breath back deeply if it got shallow. Come into the presence of your breathing. Melt what you can down. Just feel patience living inside you. So there's nowhere to go. Even though we're about to get up, there's still nowhere to go. Right here, this moment, you're just here. Let's find our way into some movement. So you can
Stretch however you like to come out of Shavasana. Taking your time. And as you come rolling onto your side, and once again, there's no rush. You can stay on your back and stay there. But as you do come to your side, slowly, gently help yourself upward. Let's bring our palms together once you are seated. Take a slow, deep, full breath in and out. Let's offer our intentions outward. So can you stream some patience into the world, to whoever you'd like? We're all suffering from the same desire for this pandemic to be over. So let's just stream our sense of steady patience outward. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.